Hey everybody, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I know we did. It was very casual. A lot of family was here, a lot of laughs. We had a very good time. And we are into the holiday season for sure now. We're ready for Christmas coming up. And the first thing I want to show you is some basics of what the Christmas meal is. And the two things we're going to concentrate on today is the ham. And first up, we're going to concentrate on making scalloped potatoes. And this is Tim's specialty, so pay attention.
We have 6 tablespoons of butter. We have 6 tablespoons of flour, and in that flour I have a half a teaspoon of salt and a quarter teaspoon of pepper. Then we have a half a cup of onion, just a medium onion. Then we have 3 pounds of potatoes, and we'll show you what we're going to do with those when we get there. Now what we do is we make the potatoes for a single recipe, but we double the sauce, because if you don't double the sauce, the potatoes tend to dry out and the sauce keeps them nice and fluffy. In our pot right now we have 6 tablespoons of butter, and we're just getting that melted. And once that gets melted, we're going to add our onion. That's going to be here in a couple of seconds because our butter's almost melted, and I'll show you that. We're going to add our medium onion. And we're just going to mix that around and let those start to soften. It's going to take about 5 minutes. We have the heat on about medium-high heat. Now we're going to add our flour mixture. And you want to mix this really well because you don't want any raw flour in there. You want to get that all mixed in nice until there's no raw flour showing. Okay, all our flour is incorporated. And now we're going to add 5½ cups of milk. And I'm going to start with the 1 cup first before I dump the big one. So we'll put our little one in. That's 1 cup. Let's get that incorporated. Start to get those lumps out, because you don't want lumps. You want this nice and smooth. Now that we got the lumps out, we're going to add the other 4 cups. Be careful when you do this because it can go everywhere using a measuring cup, and you want it in the pan, not on your stove top. So there's our 5 cups of milk. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to mix this. Okay, as you can see, we're starting to thicken now. And remember, do not leave this unattended with the milk and the flour. It'll scorch the bottom, and if this boils over with a hot flame, you're going to cause a fire in your kitchen. So make sure you watch this and stir this the entire time until this gets thick. And as you can see, it's just about there. We have our mandolin. I have it set on 1, which is the thinnest setting. And we're going to start running these through here and get these potatoes in that greased 9x13 pan. I'm not using the guard for the mandolin because I trust myself. Just remember, the blade is really, really sharp, and you don't want to get your fingers in there. So if you're not comfortable doing it this way like I am, use your guard for your mandolin. That way you ensure that you don't cut yourself, because that will send you to the emergency room. How's Tracy as an assistant, everybody? Not too bad, huh? Remember, with your potatoes, I scrub them off first, and any bad spots I cut off with a knife. That way you don't get ugly stuff in your potatoes. As you see how nice those look? Those are beautiful. And we're just going to lay these in here in our 9x13 pan. Our sauce is nice and thick. Our potatoes are in our greased pan. Now we're going to pour all this sauce over the top of these potatoes. It's going to be a little full. And You can see on the bottom of the pan that there's nothing burnt. That's why you got to keep stirring it the whole time, so you don't get any burnt spots on the bottom. You don't want that in your scallop potatoes. Now that we have our potatoes and everything in there, we're going to dot the top of this with 4 tablespoons of butter. Got our butter on there. Now we're going to cover this with aluminum foil. We have our oven preheated at 350. And now what you're going to do is this is going to go in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes. After those 30 minutes, you're going to take the foil off and you're going to cook it another 60 to 70 minutes until the potatoes are fork tender. 350 oven, covered with foil for 30 minutes. And then 30 minutes goes by, we're going to take that foil off and show you what it looks like.
Next up on the menu is the ham, and I want to talk a little bit about the ham because in order to save a lot of money, you're better off setting it up yourself and making your own sauce that goes on top of it. The difference between this ham that I purchased and the ham that I did not purchase is 50% higher. And the difference is, and why it's more, is because they're spiral sliced first, and they have a type of sauce that you can pour over it. But I'm going to teach you how to get that sauce on your own, the old-fashioned way like we used to do growing up. And it's easy to just pick up a ham that's not sliced, and I saved, this one is $22. The ones that were already spiral sliced, they were running double that. They were about $40 to $50 and higher. So we're saving, first off, a lot of money the way we're going to do it. First thing we have to do is get this out of this plastic bag. And then once we do that, you're going to want to make sure that you either use a roaster or a deep pan like what I have. We're going to cut side down and see how deep that is. It's going to give lots of space for the liquid to be around it. First thing we want to do is we're going to put on our brown sugar. Now, since this is not a spiral ham, we're going to go ahead and put in some lines. This will allow for that to go down into the meat. And we're going to cross over. Now that I made my marks in it, we're going to take this brown sugar and we're going to actually force that into all the nooks and crannies. We're going to put it all over the ham. The next thing I want to do is take the rings of pineapple and we're going to put those on next. Last, we're going to take the cherry and we're going to put that in the middle of each one. I like to split them open so that it sits better. And if you have trouble having them stay on, we're going to use a toothpick and just poke it in there. The last thing we're going to do is take some Coca-Cola and keep that out. And we're going to pour this gradually over the top. And like I said, just use toothpicks to put these back on. And we're going to pour the whole thing. Now you just put your toothpicks just like this. and we're going to cover it. Okay, now we got the ham in the oven. We're all set that way. It's at 350 degrees, just like the potatoes are. It's going to take a total of 90 minutes, but in 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and baste it. And what basting means is you're going to take the sauce from the bottom and you're going to pour it over the top of the ham. I'm going to do that a couple times throughout the cooking process. Then we're going to take off the foil, and then that point is when it's going to brown that glaze and set that ham up really nice. Now, all this month, I'm going to be concentrating on Christmas, so it can be anything from side dishes to cookies to desserts, and I am even going to show you a complimentary gift that your guests can take home with them. It's a surprise. It's a type of nut, and you're going to be making it yourself in the oven. All right, now what we have to do, it's been 30 minutes. So I'm going to lift this up. I'm not going to take it all the way off. I'll just lift one side back. We're going to go ahead and just baste that. Dump it back all over the sides. Now that we got that set, we're going to put that back on. And you can go ahead and take the whole top off if you want to. I didn't because the foil I have is narrow and I didn't want the whole thing coming off. And for those new families out there, something that you might want to invest in for future is what's called a turkey baster. This is not just used as a turkey baster, but it can be used for your ham as well. And I was showing using a spoon because this is what most people have. I remember when we first got married, I was lucky I had a pan big enough to actually put the ham in. So I know there's a lot of you new guys out there that are just starting to learn how to do family dinners, how to do the holidays, and I want to teach everything I can. If you have any questions, make sure and comment below, and I'll get back with you as soon as I see those comments.
Okay, it's been an hour and 40 minutes for our potatoes. It's time to pull them out and check them. Boy, do those look good. Okay, it's time to check these with a fork. Fork goes through them nice and easy. These are done. They smell wonderful. These are going to be so good with that ham. Hey, let's get that ham out. Be careful, everybody. It's really hot. Look at that. Look how good Tracy did with that ham. That is going to be delicious.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and get this out. And I'll give you a tip with what's left in there as far as the broth. You can take some cornstarch, go ahead and heat it up just like you would a gravy, and you can thicken it and then put it over top of this. For this purpose, I'm not going to go into doing that, but you can easily do that. What I want to do next is I want to show you how you're going to cut this. The first thing you're going to do is take off all the fruit. And let's get a separate bowl for that. And growing up, we always, as kids, wanted to have a piece of the fruit. All right, now what we're going to do is go ahead and turn this on its side. Look how beautiful that is. Now the ham bone is running right here. So we're going to cut right above that. All right, so go ahead and do right across like that. And I have hands that are used to heat. I used to be a baker for a lot of years, so you may want to use a fork so that you do not burn your hands. But then you're just going to take the slices down to where you cut. Just like that. And it's a little bit awkward because I'm trying to let you guys see it instead of turning it around to me. And then once you do from here, then you can turn it over and you can do it from the other way. But let's go ahead and give this a taste test. This is really moist. It worked out great. It's got great flavor. That was so juicy when we took it out. Now we need to also take a taste test of the potatoes as well. Let me grab a... All right, we're going to take a little taste of these potatoes. And they are so nicely done. Nice and soft. And lots of broth. That's why we actually double that broth so that it's not dried out. I can't stand dried potatoes. Really creamy, really flavorful. You're going to love this. Great recipe for your family for any time. You don't have to wait till Christmas time to do any of these recipes. Thank you so much for joining us today, and make sure that you subscribe because I don't want you to miss any of the episodes this month, because remember, it's all about Christmas.